Now imagine this, you don't have a hose spigot. You could be gardening inside your house, maybe you have a condo or maybe you have an apartment, but you do not have a hose bib in order to attach your hose to. So the question is, how do I attach my hose to my faucet? Well, this company created a solution. This is the Garden Life Indoor Faucet Connector. This indoor faucet connector will connect hoses to mostly every type of faucet. Now we're going to actually show this to you being hooked up to a faucet specifically. Now it won't work with some of those uniquely designed faucets. It will work for about 90% of the standard faucets. And we'll show you an operation so you can of course look at the faucet that it's working on to be able to make sure that it works with the one at your house. But the reason why we really want to emphasize this as being a great solution is because a lot of people have also tried to figure out how to use a water filter, especially these really inexpensive but very valuable filters that are provided for an inline hose connection. This is an inline water filter that will actually filter out and chlorinate up to 30,000 gallons of water. So what the question is how do I get the chlorine out of my water? How do I use a hose inside my house when I don't have a hose bib? So here's the top piece of the hose connector. This is actually the piece that's going to clamp down onto your faucet connection. And then what we have here is we have a rubber piece. This rubber piece is actually going to be the gasket that's going to attach to the bottom of the faucet, and then the water is going to come out this side. Now of course this is a hose thread on this side. But look at this. This is the first solution that we've been able to find for gardeners to be able to use an inline carbon filter with their faucet, essentially. And the great thing about these filters is also the fact that you don't lose any pressure. You're not going to sit around waiting for your water. You're still going to have the same pressure, the same amount of flow that you would get out of your faucet, but you'll now have filtered water for your garden. And of course you'll be able to use a hose indoors as well. Well, let's go ahead and show you the Garden Life connector in action. So this is actually just a standard faucet most people would have in their sink. It's actually a little bit deeper of a sink too. And what you'll see is there's a white gasket, a rubber piece on this side. That's what's supposed to actually connect into the bottom of the faucet, which will be the gasket that'll basically keep the water from leaking out. So all I'm doing is tightening up, screwing the gasket to fit snugly. And you can see the space right here. That space is going to be the acceptable space that you would be able to fit your faucet head in. This spacing right here is roughly, let's call it, it's a hair over 1.5 inches, but to release our liability of what size faucets it will fit, we'll just assume it's about 1.5 inches. And so it should fit a faucet head that's no more than 1.5 inches in width. So what we do is just tighten up this gasket piece to the actual faucet just by screwing it on, and then this piece right here is what's going to tighten everything down. But you don't want to necessarily need to over tighten. See, I just basically over tightened it a little bit. You keep it somewhat loose, you pull this piece down, it's going to create the connection. Now we can screw on a hose right onto this connection. We can screw a garden hose right onto that connection and go right into your garden. And if you had an even deeper sink than this one here, you know, we're just basically showing you that we could put a filter on the faucet head. Now, if you had a shallower sink than this, which most people probably would if they were in an apartment or condo.
So you could also put that on the end of the garden hose.
Yeah, this unit does not have to be on your connection itself. The filter could literally be on the other end of the garden hose if you wanted to walk with it like that. So this is actually a hose thread right here. So your hose can go right onto this guy out to the garden. You could also go hose to the filter and then to the garden as well. This is an inline filter. This filter can be anywhere from the faucet to where you're feeding in your garden. It's going to filter the water inside. But the most important thing is we wanted to show those gardeners how they can use a garden hose in their garden. Instead of using a tank and a pump and vinyl black hosing and shutoff valves, you could actually use a regular faucet, a regular garden hose, and a regular water wand. This is a standard 3/4 inch garden hose connection.